I have with me the youngest MP of Ukraine, Sviatoslav Yurash. And we are in Barankova, which is close to the Donbas region. And this is where a lot of intense fighting has been happening. There are a lot of places which are under control of the Russians. The Ukrainians are also holding their positions. And as a result of that, there is a lot of fierce fighting here in this region. Mr. Yurash, can you tell us what the situation here is? You've been traveling along part of humanitarian aid. You're also in the army now. You are a parliamentarian, a former journalist. What exactly is the status of this region?
Well, the reality is that the fighting was happening in Kiev region, Kiev city, where I was, and after that point, when Battle of Kiev was won, the Russians changed strategy. They were trying to basically move against the forces in Donbas, trying to cut them off to at least present some victories along the way. But they basically had their forces completely pushed back, and Barvinkova is just another story of Russians trying to push in and failing badly and clearly. And so the fighting continues in this area, in this lovely area, which never was imagining that this is going to happen to it. And we will continue pushing back the Russians. We have no other choice.
And even as we speak, we can hear a lot of bombardment in the background, a clear signal that the fighting is quite intense here. What is the Russian strategy? They want to come in, cut off supplies to the Donbas region, because contrary to what Russia has been claiming, there are still places in the Donbas region where Ukrainian forces are holding on to their position.
Very much so. Donbas basically is still quite Ukrainian, and the positions there are strong. They've been built up over the last 6 years of fighting, and 8 years of fighting. And the reality is that when you look at the situation the Russians are facing, they just basically want to conduct a strategic maneuver, having and showing no signs of progress. The reality is that Russians are trying to cut off the supply lines, but they are failing badly.
Where do you see this battle heading? Because we are into the third month now, and it doesn't seem so. I've traveled a bit as well. It doesn't seem so that there's going to be a ceasefire very soon. In such a scenario, where do you see this going?
Well, we see that Russia is not going to give up its pretensions to Ukraine, and we are going to push back at them with everything we have, because again, we're defending our nation. So but no matter what Russians throw at us, we will continue the battle. We have no other choice.
And is there a timeline? How many months could it take? Could it go into years? Could it be a permanent sort of a conflict zone that this could turn into?
Russians are clearly showing indications they're going to battle it out until they win. We are telling them very clearly that they will not. So in this situation, we face no other choice but to continue the battle.
You also have an Indian connection. You've studied in Calcutta.
Indeed.
As a parliamentarian, you told me that you're on the panel of Ukraine,
yes,
India.
I chair the Ukrainian Parliamentary Friendship Group.
Where do you see India's role? Because everybody knows that India has had traditional close relations with Russia. But where do you see, but India plays an important role, because India has also abstained even when it came to a UN, to a Russian proposal at the UN.
The reality that India needs to face the reality of Russia is these days. And the connections you're mentioning are not connections with Russia, connections with the Soviet Union. Soviet Union is no more. And Russia, and modern Russian state, what it's doing to the world, not just to Ukraine, by no measure. You can look at the situation in Syria, Venezuela, Central Republic, and you can see what Russia is all about today. And that calls for the change of action, the change of strategy. The Indian friendship treaty with Russia doesn't have a leg to stand on now, when Russia is clearly showing that it's willing to conduct this terror and horror around my country, and India needs to examine this. As India is the leader, one of the leaders of the 21st century, and needs to face those moral choices everybody else does.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.